Welcome to Wake and Bake from San Diego,
where sports betting
meets marijuana. I'm Leaf.
And I'm Lo.
And here's Chaz.
Hey, thanks, guys, and welcome to our very first episode in 2023 for Wake and Bake. And there's nothing better than getting up early and waking and baking, but there is something better, Hector, and that's getting back from Vegas safe and sound.
Yeah, it's always good to come back in one piece from Vegas. Vegas is like TJ. You just thank your lucky stars you're still alive coming back.
Oh, what a great analogy. Tijuana and Vegas have so much in common, but whenever I make it back, I always give thanks.
Thank you, Jesus. I thank you, Jesus. I thank you, Jesus.
Because, as you know, what stays in Vegas, what's the saying? How does it go? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Except gonorrhea, that's what the saying is.
Yeah, that's right, baby. All right, so, you know what? Rumor has it there's a big game this weekend on Sunday, you know? So what we're looking at is... what we're looking at is kind of, as always, we have 4 guests on the show. We're going to try to spread it out a little bit. We're also going to look at what we're doing with the other sports down the road as we go, because football ends on Sunday, and our Saturdays in Canada will tell you that sometime in June the football will come back. However, in between there's not much going on in terms of football. So what we're going to talk about, and you and I have been talking over for years now. We're going to slide around, but I want to get, since we didn't really get a chance to talk about it at the end of the season with the holidays being on Saturdays and Sundays this year, we went like 3 weeks without a show. What were your final thoughts on the World Cup?
It's a hell of a final, dude. I mean, everything built up to it. Obviously, everybody talking about the Cinderella story with Morocco knocking off Spain and then knocking off Portugal. With Cristiano Ronaldo and everybody that was made it to the semifinals, first African team ever to do that. And then Argentina came back and got Ruben, and Messi finally got that monkey off his back. And now I still think Maradona's the best player that I've ever seen play. I never got to see Pelé, but Messi at least got that World Cup. Not he can get the media off his shoulders for a while, but that was a hell of a final, man. Back and forth. Argentina, a lot of penalty calls there for both teams in the final, and France is kicking themselves, dude. They could have won it in the 123rd minute, 1-on-1 versus the goalkeeper, and the guy just shanked it, dude, and then they lost in penalty kicks. So,
you're absolutely right.
It'll be, yeah.
I mean, think about it. The dude had a hat trick and lost the game. He had 3 goals, right? And he lost the game. It's just unheard of. It was unheard of.
Yeah,
but it was. It really was.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he ties Pelé in World Cups, dude. That guy's ridiculous. But yeah, World Cup.
So good. It was so good. No doubt about it. So where are you at now? What are you doing? What are you covering with your writing? You doing anything for soccer?
Yeah, I'm still writing for SD News, sdnews.com, and El Latino newspaper, the Spanish newspaper here in San Diego. Waiting for the seasons to start here locally. San Diego Loyal just announced their regular season schedule. The women's team, the NWSL team, First Division, San Diego Wave just announced it yesterday, I think. And everybody's ready to go. And Nisa's coming back, even though they're kind of the underdogs. Obviously, I'll be on San Diego. At least they're going to be playing in the U.S. Open Cup, and they'll be coming back for another season in Nisa. So, yeah, everybody in San Diego's all stoked. And obviously, the Liga MX has already started up with the Cholos. And everybody.
When does the San Diego
World Cup roller coaster? Yeah, the San Diego one. San Diego Loyal starts off there's going to be doing pregame or preseason schedules matches right now, friendlies. But the regular season starts at home on March 11th against Detroit City FC, and then the women's team plays their regular season opener, March 25th, at home at Snapdragon Stadium against Chicago Red Stars. And we're still waiting on the NISA team to put their schedule up. What
is going on with coaching? You remember Donovan, you said, was maybe leaving.
Yeah. Well, there was rumors that he was going to go to MLS. He was interviewing with a few teams up there. San Jose Earthquake was one of them, I think. where he played and he won a couple championships with Major League Soccer. But yeah, he's still with the organization. He moved up to vice president soccer operations, and I think Nate Miller, his assistant, took over for Landon Donovan. So there's still that rapport with the players. So yeah, there was a move, but it's good to see him stick to San Diego, which is like pretty much I think this is where he's going to stay.
Yeah, you didn't think he was going to stay, did you?
No, I thought at least one of the 6 teams he was interviewing with he was going to take him. San Jose was my favorite because he had experience. He had experience with the LA Galaxy, and he had experience with San Jose. So I figured one of the two would sweep him up. But now I guess it fell through, and he decided to stay here, and everybody's happy about it.
Yeah, what would be nice is as we go down in the season, because the show comes out on Saturday, we'll have a lot of Saturday night and Sunday afternoon games, and then with the League Mex, all those leagues, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And then the English League already started. They're halfway through their season. Arsenal's having a hell of a season too. So.
Yep, and we'll be covering that. So when we get back, though, we're gonna go to American football. You're listening to Wake and Bake. We're talking to Hector on Soccer Time with Hector, and we'll be right back. It's football season, ladies and gentlemen, and PropSwap is the best way to lock in the action right now. This time last year, Cincinnati was 300-1 odds. Thousands of PropSwappers cashed in on Cincy just by buying their tickets on PropSwap early and then flipping for a profit when Burrow and company got hot. Now is your chance to do it again. With thousands of buyers across the country, you'll always get the most amount of money for your bet on PropSwap. So hurry to PropSwap while it's early and grab a ticket or two. The odds are always the highest right now. It really does pay to get in early. Go to PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today. PropSwap is where America buys and sells sports bets. If you listen to Muhammad from 151 Sports Investing, he told you how much better the odds are on PropSwap than what is being offered at your local sports book. And look at me. I had UConn. I went for 2. So instead of getting just 1 ticket with UConn in the future for the Final Four, I got 2, sold 1 on PropSwap, and when they lost, I ended up having a positive ROI on a national championship future ticket where the team lost. Only on PropSwap, where America buys and sells sports bets. Welcome back to Soccer Time with Hector here on Wake and Bake. And Hector, we love talking soccer, but it's kind of hard this weekend not to talk about the big game, the Super Bowl 57 that is on Sunday. Now, there's a lot of ways to look at this game. Where are you coming from?
Oh, man, that was interesting because I think as soon as the conference championship games were over, I think the sports books all had Kansas City as a 1 or 2 point favorite. And then the next morning I woke up and they had Philly like a 2 point favorite. So I haven't checked what the line is right now. I'm guessing it's around that 1 or 2 points for one of the other 2 teams. But yeah, man, I mean, I think, Cincinnati's going to be kicking themselves on the butt right now, dude. They had so many chances to win that game. Obviously, the San Francisco one with all the injuries. I think they had McCaffrey playing a couple plays as quarterback, dude. That was so pathetic at the end for them.
Oh, when the third, what happened? Purdy got hurt, right?
He got a concussion. He got a concussion, yeah.
So then they put in the other guy, and he got hurt, and then they had McCaffrey, and then Purdy said, well, I can finish the game. But by that point, I remember exactly when that happened because we were in the Superbook at the Westgate, and I started to walk away from the sports book, and Johnny and Tommy go, well, where are you going? I said, this game is over. I'm going to get lunch. Because it was. You're not winning in the NFL with a third-string quarterback, never mind a fourth-string quarterback.
Yeah, they got to change the rules for that. I think the NFL's talking about giving teams more options there in terms of quarterbacks and because of injuries like that, which is ridiculous what happened to San Francisco. But, yeah, man, as a Steeler fan, I was happy to watch the Bengals blow it and become the Bungles again and with that penalty at the end. And they're all crying about, the refs and blah, blah, blah. I think there was one play that can really complain about. I think the Joe Burrow, they could have called the Kansas City defender like a little bit of a shove there. On Joe Burrow in the fourth quarter. But other than that, I think all the calls were okay, especially the last one. That was definitely a penalty on Mahomes, dude.
No, he was so out of bounds. He was so out of bounds. Yeah, you gotta play within yourself. You can't make that mistake, you know?
Yeah, it would have been a 60-yarder from there. I don't think he would have made it. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, man, I'm also for the Super Bowl, man. I'm going with even though I don't know if you're 100% or maybe 80%, but Mahomes at 80% is still better than most quarterbacks at 100%. So I'm going to go with Kansas City. I'm going to ride them the whole way. It's going to be the Cinderella story. And I like what the Eagles did this season. They got a really sturdy offense and stuff like that, but and a really dependable defense. But I think it's Mahomes' time to shine, and I think he's going to pull through it. I think it'll be a close one, and I think it'll be 24-20 Kansas City.
Well, you know, that's funny you brought that up because I've always complimented you with the soccer plays that you give the final score, do you think? Because it really allows people to see where you're coming from in terms of how you see the game playing out, because your final score tells you what you thought was going to happen. And I saw on our Easy Sports data that Kansas City hasn't given up many points. They're not scoring like they were in past years, but they're not giving up points. And 24 points is about as much as they're giving up. And so, you know, where you're looking, is Kansas City and under, right?
Yeah, I mean, Chris Jones is playing out of his mind. Their defensive line is dominating the rushing attack of all the opponents, and they got a decent secondary. I think. Those fourth down, it'll come down to like a lot of key plays because I know Philadelphia has perfected the fourth and one conversions. But I think it'll come down, it'll be like that Super Bowl against San Francisco, Kansas City and San Francisco, where it'll come down to like the final 5 or 6 minutes. But I think Mahomes is going to etch himself as one of the all-time greats with his second Super Bowl and being so young to do it too.
Well, yeah, 5 years in the league and 5 AFC championships. You really can't do much better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk to everybody we talked to for this show. We're going to get their final score. We'll see how accurate you guys are. I have always told people my focus is going to be on those first team to score, first player to score, the anytime touchdown props. Mostly because with championshipfootballs.com, whoever wins, we're going to create a beautiful football for them. So it's really the one game of the year. I don't really have a vested interest. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I'm not playing, Hector. Yeah. I'm not coaching. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it'll be a fun one, man. And I can't see how the halftime show goes, too, with Rihanna. So we'll see how that
goes. You go. We'll talk to you next time.
In a world where most cannabis gummies are hashy, melty, or just plain gross, one brand will rise up to forever change what an edible can be. Vegan and gluten-free ingredients, 30-plus terpenes, and a melt-proof recipe star in Wana. Not all edibles are created equal. Now in theaters. Dispensaries.
So we did. We made it back safe and sound from our Betaway weekend in Las Vegas. And again, it's Las Vegas. Anything can happen. But the best part about it is I got my gummies from Wana. They don't sell them here in California at the dispensary I go to. So I had to go to Planet 13. What a dispensary that was. Holy cow, that place is huge. My brother had told me about it. He said the customer service was exceptional. But if it has to do with cannabis, they had it. So we're pretty excited because, as you see by the spot there, these are pretty good gummies. Welcome to Wake and Bake. We're back from break, and we got John from GMF Sports. So, John, I think we need to come up with a name for your segment. So what I'm looking at is, where's your mind at? Because with GMF Sports, you do a lot of things, right? You do the picks, you do the proxy for people for the contest, but you're adding now the GMF experience is what you're calling it.
Yeah, correct. That is absolutely correct. What we're doing, kind of a new feature where we're giving the people the opportunity to kind of get a more personalized one-on-one experience with me. And this could be from a new bettor all the way to your experienced bettors. And, I'm going to go along the avenues of explaining to them whatever they need to know to improve as a bettor. So if you're just starting off, I'm going to help explain that board, help explain all those numbers. Because when you're first betting and you see all these numbers on the board, it's kind of intimidating. But I'm going to give people that advantage and give them the knowledge that they need to feel more confident, kind of like a little crash course. And this is all personalized one-on-one. It's a 2-day thing, so 48 hours. And not only are you going to be able to ask me questions, get information, you're also going to get my plays for those 2 days as well.
Awesome. And again, that's the one thing that we talk about here on the Sports Betting Channel, whether it's Sports Betting Weekly or Wake and Bake. Just who wins the game is, 7 out of 10 times for me, you, Blackhawk West. That has nothing to do with who we bet.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
I mean, this week we had the UNLV and over.
UNLV, yep.
In the second half. And that was because they kind of didn't do anything in the first half, and it turned out to be the easiest winner.
Uh-huh.
And again, it doesn't matter who wins the game. It matters what you bet. And I think that GMF experience will cover that because you cover it with us on all our shows,
Well, for sure. And that's the thing. What wound up being one initial bet with UNLV turned out to 3 or 4 different bets throughout the course of the game, as we jumped on that second half. So we essentially turned one pick into 4.
That's right. It's important news. It is 20 after the hour. It's 8:20 here in San Diego, which means that right now it's perfect time for us to wake and bake, but it's currently in Antarctica, 4:20. So it's 4:20 in Antarctica. So if you think you're cold, you really shouldn't be pissing and moaning because you're not in Antarctica. But it's a perfect time for the guys to tell us about the contest.
Hey, it's Leaf.
And Lo, and we're here to tell you about our Wake and Bake Twitter contest. You don't even need to be a great handicapper to win.
This one is so easy, even I can win.
That's right, Leaf. Anybody can win. All you have to do is...
Can I do the disclaimer?
Leaf, the disclaimer is at the end.
Sorry.
All you have to do is take a screenshot of any game that you're watching where the clock has stopped at exactly 4:20.
420. I love that number.
We know you do, Leaf. Now please let me finish.
Sorry.
If the clock stops at 4:20 during any game you're watching, take a screenshot showing the clock and tag Chaz on Twitter with the picture.
Go to @secondhalfchaz, add the picture, and you're in.
You'll be entered in a drawing for a $100 gift certificate at championshipfootballs.com.
Right. And even if you lost the first one, you can go 3-1. You know what? That'll work every day. It happens. It happens with us all the time. All right, so let's talk about February. So we're going to wake up February 14th. It's Valentine's Day. What are we going to be doing in terms of what are you looking at? Because I know baseball is probably your best sport, right?
Yeah, baseball is my best sport. So we're obviously looking at that. But I'm pretty much dialed into college basketball. That's my main focus moving forward now until we start getting into baseball season. Because even for the first month of baseball, I kind of play that relatively light, which kind of transitions perfectly because obviously we have the March Madness tournament, and that goes on until, kind of April. So that's kind of the transition that I'm going to make. But, for these next 2 months, February, March, and then into that April, as we get to the finals, I'm going to be 95% college basketball.
Now, what's nice about college basketball is we record on Thursdays for Saturday morning. We put the show together, and then it plays at 8 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock Eastern time. But with the NBA, you really can't sit here and talk to me on Thursday about Saturday or Sunday's games. But with college basketball, you can't. Major League Baseball, it's tough, again, because you're dealing with pitchers. However, you could sometimes, if you're following a pitcher, it allows you to say, hey, on Thursday, I can tell you who's pitching Saturday and or Sunday because they won't pitch again till then.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty tough. Like I said, college basketball, you kind of know the players. NBA, the variables with these players sitting and what goes on, it's too up and down, and that's one of the reasons. And it seems to get worse and worse almost every year. That's kind of the reason why I'm kind of shying away a little bit for NBA. Once we hit the playoffs, you get into NBA playoffs, maybe I'll look back into it. But for right now, at least for me, NBA is super tricky.
Yeah, and we've seen it. We've seen it in our action where, teams that the guy plays 8 minutes and then he doesn't come back in.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this weekend, is there anything that's not football related that you were already on top of?
Not yet. I haven't really looked ahead for college basketball for Saturday yet. I kind of piece it day by day, so to speak. So I haven't really looked. I do just glancing over. Obviously it's Saturday and there's probably 120 college basketball games, but there's some really, really good matchups on Saturday that I was focusing on and looking at. I just didn't really get into the lines or really lock anything in.
Well, and again, because we're betting Thursday and we're betting Friday. So let me ask you this. Before we go to break, we're going to come back. We're going to talk some Super Bowl. Who are the 3 college teams right now that you personally have won the most money on?
Personally, right now, I would include UNLV on the top. There's also UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos, who are very good to me so far this year. And then I would probably say the third team would probably be the unders, even though they haven't really been coming in lately, but the unders and Rutgers for the first few games, I was on a lot of unders and Rutgers. So,
yeah, and remember, we're in the West Coast Pacific time zone, you and I. So when those games are hard. I mean, Wes, how many times does Wes say, "I fell asleep, but thanks for the cash"?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with making money while you sleep, but yeah, that's kind of the teams obviously that I mentioned: the UNLVs, the UC Santa Barbaras. Actually, UC Santa Barbara's playing Long Beach, so that's going to be actually a good matchup. I like Long Beach too, but I kind of tend to watch those because they're on TV over here at 7:00. Where if you're on the East Coast, it's 10, 11 o'clock. You might be in bed already.
Well, and the other aspect of it is, I mean, look at the Purdue game. I got up. I had to set my alarm on the AFC-NFC Sunday to get up to get that Purdue bet in because I wanted to double my money. And it was an easy double up, but you got to, I had to be down in the book by 8:45. So the bottom line is, you're absolutely right about Saturdays. It's just the basketball comes in waves and waves and waves. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some more picks with Super Bowl. You're listening to Wake and Bake. We've got John from GMF Sports.
You can get championship footballs at championshipfootballs.com. They offer a 100% money back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. It's the coolest present that they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan or an Alabama Crimson Tide backer, maybe Gramps, a lifelong Dallas Cowboys supporter, or your brother-in-law is in LSU Tiger territory. Know a member of the Baylor Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, we're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggie or a Tulane Green Wave alum, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't Nice Effort, you had a pretty good season footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
It's football season, ladies and gentlemen, and PropSwap is the best way to lock in the action right now. This time last year, Cincinnati was 300-1 odds. Thousands of prop swappers cashed in on Cincy just by buying their tickets on PropSwap early and then flipping for a profit when Burrow and company got hot. Now is your chance to do it again. With thousands of buyers across the country, you'll always get the most amount of money for your bet on PropSwap. So hurry to PropSwap while it's early and grab a ticket or two. The odds are always the highest right now. It really does pay to get in early. Go to PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today. PropSwap is where America buys and sells sports bets. If you listen to Muhammad from 151 Sports Investing, he told you how much better the odds are on PropSwap than what is being offered at your local sports book. And look at me. I had UConn. I went for two. So instead of getting just one ticket with UConn in the future for the Final Four, I got two, sold one on PropSwap, and when they lost, I ended up having a positive ROI on a national championship future ticket where the team lost. Only on PropSwap, where America buys and sells sports bets. Welcome back to cashing tickets with GMF Sports? I don't know. Hey, it's a work in progress. Give me a break, you know. But one of the things, if you just saw the spot for Prop Swap, is you could pretty much sell a ticket, and they call it going for two, and we did that. And you were kind enough to get off your butt on Saturday, November 5th or whatever it was, for the Breeders' Cup. I said, hey, I'm looking at this 2-year-old in the juveniles. His name is Verifying. He's by Justify. Everybody knows Justify.
Of course.
I really like this horse, and so you bet him for me at 85-1. So I have 2 tickets at 85-1. So that's a $20 bill that pays $1,700. Now, you don't get that very often. You know, think about what we have to do in sports betting to get 85-1.
To get those odds, for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be a crazy ass future, you know. So the horse does pretty well. I think it ran like 4th or 5th for a while, and this is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. This is the horse that sets the favorite for the Derby, and then he kind of faltered, but he dropped to like 60-1 for the futures. Well, guess what? He comes back with this first race. I gave him to you guys. I think he paid $11 or something. It wasn't that much, but the bottom line is he won easy by 5, and as you know, John, easy wins, you take them in any aspect you can get them. Sports, horses, it don't matter. An easy win's an easy win. We don't get enough of them. But he does that, so now they come out with the new pool, and I sent it to you. Do you remember what his odds are?
Yeah, was it 18-1 or
15-1?
Yeah, wow.
He's 15-1. He's 20-1 on the DRF, and when you have an 85-1, then now it's 15-1. That's all you could ask, and that's exactly what happened last year with UConn. I'm just a big fan of Prop Swap. It's something that I've always bet the futures. I never made money if my future lost. Now with Prop Swap, I can lose, and I can still get a positive ROI. How cool is that?
That's right. It's great.
All right, let's talk about tomorrow. What do you think?
Super Bowl. That should be a good game. I'm excited to see how, obviously, the Chiefs handle the explosive offense of the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we all know, what KC can do with Patrick Mahomes, but, they have some injuries, and we're going to see how all that plays out. I normally don't go too crazy for Super Bowl. I like to sit back, relax, enjoy the game, spend time with families and friends. We'll do a little barbecue and stuff like that. And I'll probably be a little bit more heavier on the prop side of things just to kind of keep the game interesting. But I normally don't go too crazy. But as of now, even though I'm kind of amping up Philadelphia, I probably will take KC and I actually like Pat Mahomes. I think this bet kind of goes side by side. If KC wins, then there's probably a 90% chance that Patrick Mahomes is going to win the MVP. So you can almost take that angle and get the little bit better odds, depending on what book you're at. But I believe Pat Mahomes is about plus 130. So.
No, and you go the same way with the other guy, Hurts, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. That if you like Philadelphia, then you might as well take Hurts, because I think he's about the same, plus 120, plus 130. Especially that way, because essentially Philadelphia, you're laying the points. But if you think Philadelphia is going to win, like I said, probably 90% chance that Jalen Hurts get it. I actually like on the Philadelphia side, just to kind of cover it. Because what I do is kind of, I'll put a couple of prop bets in on KC, and then I'll obviously got to cover the other side just to make it more interesting, because if Philadelphia wins, and if I didn't have anything on it, then I get nothing right off the bat. But I actually have Miles Sanders, MVP. He's, I think, about 18-1, maybe 20-1, depending on what book you're at. But I like Miles Sanders. I think Philadelphia is going to use a run game. And obviously, if he can have a decent chunk of yards rushing, and if he can punch a couple of touchdowns in, then there's a good shot that he might cash that at 18-1.
You got a couple last time, right?
Yeah. We did get a couple last time.
And that's really, when it comes to MVPs, receivers, it's almost impossible for them to win, because if they win, the reason they win is the quarterback got them the ball. You have to really go off. You'd have to set a record or something, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I believe the last wide receiver, which we had, was Edelman.
The Patriots.
That was because I think in the first half, he already had like 100 yards, and he caught like 11 balls. And that's the thing. You know, as far as like a wide receiver for Kansas City, I obviously, if it's going to go to Kelsey would have to catch like 95% of Patrick Mahomes and also have like all the touchdowns. So that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah, a receiver, a running back, I think could win it with 2 touchdowns. But a receiver is probably going to need 4.
Yeah, he's going to need 4 and a whole lot of looks.
Yeah, you set a record for receptions or touchdowns by receivers in a Super Bowl. You got a shot. Otherwise, I don't think. So before we let you go, we got to get a final score from you.
Okay, I'm going to go Kansas City 28, Philadelphia 24.
There you go. Yeah, I know that the data we've got, I've got the first player to score data. We hit Kelsey, of course, in the AFC game. We did have McCaffrey to score a touchdown, but we didn't have Sanders. He scored the first 2 for sure, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I missed the boat on him on that game. That's kind of why I'm jumping back on him again, because they kind of rested him a little bit. So he's healthy. He's rested. And I think, obviously, all in the situation, I think Philadelphia is going to give him the ball early. I think he's going to have some opportunities early.
There you go. All right, so remember, bottom of the screen, catch out John on Instagram, GMF_sports_consultants. Stu gives us winners every single day, but we know him personally. You want to know him personally, you get winners every single day. We'll talk to you next time, buddy. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game.
You do the same. Enjoy the game. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
CFL. Let them know.
Welcome to Saturdays in Canada with Black Hawk West, and this Saturday is a little sad Saturday because it's our last football that we'll be talking, but it isn't for some of us. It isn't until August or September because you and I will be talking football earlier this year because, of course, our love for the CFL. But when I show you this picture, that is the artwork for our pre-sale on the Chiefs football. What do you think, Wes? Pretty good looking ball, huh?
I think it's a great looking ball.
You got it straight off the presses. As a matter of fact, I sent you the art before I sent it in to the guy who's going to change the X's into numbers. And we will, by the end of the show, we will get from you, we've got everybody so far, our prediction on the final score. And as you know, that really tells someone a lot about how you see the game unfolding based on your final score. And sometimes we're right on, and sometimes, of course, we're not. But let's talk about the Super Bowl down the road. We just got off the phone with John from GMF Sports. Or actually, he was in front of his camera, too. And we talked about you. We talked about a lot of the things that we're dealing with as we transition from what is, of course, in America, the biggest sport, to everything else. We're starting, like Tuesday. I told him Tuesday's Valentine's Day. Now you got a brand new wife, a brand new baby. But in terms of your sports betting, what do you see yourself talking about here on Saturdays in Canada going forward?
Hockey is typically my jam. So hockey kicks into high gear. But this year more than any, I've been on basketball really for the last 2 years. Some of John's plays are really, they get you digging into teams. Like, where does he get this pick from? I want to see what he sees. And so, I've been into basketball. The NBA is really hard to figure out right now. And there's certain games where, do these guys even want to be playing? And they're starting players, they're sitting players. And so college basketball has really been the bread and butter the last couple of weeks. And really, I'm about a week away from being in full basketball and full hockey mode because I've been on them for the last few weeks. Playoff NFL and post college, football's over for the most part. I do my best work with football on the long 15-hour marathon college Saturdays and the NFL Sundays. You got so much to choose from. With the playoffs, I've always believed that if you like the dog, you're better off playing money line, and those are completely different rules than what we would do during a regular season. We take the dog. We like the points. We don't care who wins. In the playoffs for football, the underdog typically, if they're going to cover, they're probably going to win. Something went wrong on the other side because the seeding makes it so that it's high versus low. But we're going to be talking about basketball. We're going to be talking about hockey as always, and always looking forward to about May when Canada gets hot.
Yeah, exactly. But you're echoing our previous guest, John, and he named UNLV, UC Santa Barbara, and Rutgers as the top 3 colleges that he's been making money on, and we see his texts, and we know he is not lying. He does come up with stuff where you just got to go blind because you've not even handicapped that school once, and they're 20 games into the year.
Yeah, and what I really have grown to love about handicapping hoops games, whether it's college or the NBA, is you put on a game, you immediately identify a margin of victory. Somebody's up by 7. Go to the pregame odds. The odds makers are never that wrong, and pick your side, and you could jump right in. End of the first half, end of the first quarter. You can win 2-3 times just jumping into a game, just following the simple math and trusting the odds makers without knowing personnel, without knowing much that's going on. You've got to pay attention a little bit. You got to know something about the game, but you can really jump into hoops. And hockey, you have to really know the teams and really know the matchups because games can end 2-1. Over-unders and point totals in hockey can be really tricky. We've hit some big ones fast, but you don't know when they're going to score. Most of the games are 5.5 game total, 3.5 or 2.5 team totals. And they're kind of all the same.
Well, we saw that really come to light with the difference in terms of with the live action that we do. Because, again, we'll use an example. Okay, so if the total's 150 and the line is 10, well, the final score is supposed to be 80-70. That's kind of how it works. And if a team that's supposed to get 80 is shooting, what did we see the other day with somebody? They were shooting 2 for 13 from 2 or something. Then that's when you know, hey, you're getting an advantage. If that team is that team that the book thought was that team, they're going to end up getting close to doing what they did. But instead now we can get a team total over 69. Because they started slow and we hopped on it. And there really is, there's no other way to bet, I don't think. So let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Blackhawk West here on Saturdays on Canada on Wake and Bake. We're going to talk Super Bowl 57. San Diego is not there, but Kansas City is. We'll be right back. Yeah, Wes, I'm telling you, we're back talking to Blackhawk West here on Saturdays in Canada on Wake and Bake, and I'm telling you right now, I'm feeling pretty good about that Kansas City football. I just hope we're going to put some numbers on that. You only put numbers on the winners, Wes.
Yeah, it's a great time to be a Chiefs fan. I mean, I've been a season ticket holder for 8 years now, and it is a great time to be a Chiefs fan. In the past 5 years, we've had the longest of playoff runs and home game availability. I mean, it's a dream.
Let me ask you this. 5 years ago, when they drafted Mahomes out of Texas Tech, what were you thinking? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was happy that they made a move at quarterback. I was never an Alex Smith guy. A lot of people don't remember 5 years ago, the Chiefs were Jamal Charles, really great running back, and they were a game manager style quarterback, which is not very Andy Reid, and they were defense. That was Tom Bahali and Justin Houston and Eric Berry, before he went and beat cancer. But the Chiefs were defense, and I was not an Alex Smith guy. He's a great dude. He will never lose the game for the Chiefs, but I always felt that he was never going to be the reason they won the game. If these drives that we see Mahomes putting them in position to kick the game-winning field goal, 13 seconds left, Alex Smith wasn't going to do it. Alex Smith wasn't going to get him in field goal range if he had the ball on the 35. And so I was happy that they made the move to draft Mahomes. Now, anybody that tells you they saw this kind of a performance coming out of the following 5 seasons out of him, they're lying. Or they have a crystal ball, and I'd like to get some financial advice from them.
Yeah, well, it's one of his family members, his first cousin or something, you know.
Because in college he was a little bit reckless. He was a gunslinger. He played in the Big 12. The Big 12 is not known for defense, so it's great. I was happy they drafted a quarterback, and then of course the first preseason game, it wasn't a couple snaps in, and he just threw a bomb, and you just wow, okay,
yep.
All right, here we go.
Hold on, this is going to be fun. All right, well, we respect your opinion. Give it to us.
I think the Chiefs are winning the game. Patrick Mahomes, regardless of where the betting lines start, there has never been a game where the game kicks off and Mahomes is an underdog. I believe last week there was so much line movement, but by the time the game started against Cincinnati, they were a favorite. But this game is trending that they're going to kick off as an underdog. And a lot of people don't realize the Chiefs defense, out of necessity, they're number 8 in the league against the rush. So this idea that Philly's going to run the ball up and down the field on them, they might, but I think that the Chiefs could put Philly in a position to where they have to throw the ball. Everybody remembers when Jalen Hurts was benched for Tua because he couldn't beat him with his arm. I'm not saying anything bad about Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying Chiefs defense isn't getting enough credit. And I think that the Eagles wide receiving core, compared to what the Chiefs just played in Cincinnati, and I don't think you can even compare the two. So I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think both defenses are going to show up. I think both teams are going to score points, but I see this being, 24-17.
Well, no, don't remember. I'm writing this down, so you got to give me firm numbers. It's got to be 2 numbers.
All right, let's call this one 24-20. KC.
There are a lot of games on Kansas City's Easy Sports data where the other team didn't score 24 points. This team does not give up a lot of points.
They don't give up a lot of points, and it's a different game when they march down the field and they score, and now the pressure's on you. And the game plan to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field has become very obvious to the Chiefs. So they've gotten very good against the rush. So I think the Eagles will take their shots. I think the Chiefs will take their shots, but you got one quarterback to win a game for you in the biggest of stages. There's nobody better in the game. There's an argument that there's never been anybody better, at least to this point, 5 years into the career. So yes, I'm a Chiefs fan, so you got to take what I'm saying, for what it's worth. But I know this team well, and you kind of got to match the two teams up and look at their path in the playoffs and who they played. What quarterbacks did the Chiefs defense play in the playoffs? Trevor Lawrence, one of the young up-and-coming quarterbacks, and they played Joe Burrow. I mean, a lot of people would have Burrow and Mahomes 1-2. Throw Josh Allen in there. But then you look at what the Eagles played. They played QB5 in San Francisco. And the prior matchup, they played against the Giants, who, they beat a Minnesota team, and they were kind of lucky to be there. But the last time the Eagles played a real quarterback, I don't know if we're going to call the Saints a real quarterback. They played Dak Prescott a few weeks ago in Dallas. They lost to Dallas and gave up over 30 points.
40-something, right? 40 to 36 or 34, something like that.
So this team will give up points. I don't see a world in which Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to lose this game. And then you got to sprinkle in the emotional thing. With this team fired Andy Reid.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's definitely some history there. So let's do this. When we close up, let's go with a couple props. Give me some other those bets that only Blackhawk West can pick.
Yeah, so I have a unique approach to the Super Bowl. And I do it this way every year. When the conference championship game is over, I take all my hoops action, I take my hockey action, and I take the team that I want to win the Super Bowl, and I start doing parlays. So I'm going to bet the Bulls to cover the spread. And instead of betting a full unit on the Bulls, I'll bet 3/4 unit on the Bulls. Then I'll bet the remaining 0.25 on Bulls plus the Chiefs money line or whatever that is. So when we get to Sunday, I already have my action laid that I've been paying as a tax or in these parlays for the Chiefs money line. But the prop bets, I really like betting anytime scores. What I have been really successful in is I'll pick about 8 players as anytime scorers, and I'll roll them into a round robin. I'll play them all straight. Purely value. I'll play them all straight, and then I'll roll them into a 2-way round robin. So, the over under is it 51? Correct me if I'm wrong. 50.5 or 51?
Right around there. Yeah.
So that says we're going to see about 5, maybe 6 touchdowns. So if you can get 3 out of say 8. Well, that's going to be 2 two-way or 3 two-way parlays that you hit, and most of them are going to pay plus 600, plus 700. So I like Tony for the Chiefs to see the end zone. He's anywhere from plus 240 to plus 260. He's healthy. He's a really good option as a running back or in the pass game for the Chiefs. Kelsey's the obvious one. That's about minus 130. Don't get caught up in the juice. That's an easy one. And I really like Sanders for Philly, and I like Goddard, their tight end. And if you're going to play one of the receivers for Philly, I like Smith better than I like AJ.
There you go. All right, man. We'll enjoy the game. Hopefully, it will be the 3rd Super Bowl victory, right, for Kansas City?
This would be the 3rd in history. This will be the 2nd in 4 years, 3 years, something like that. And this city, we got a lot of good things going on. There's we would potentially be hosting a Super Bowl parade, and then the draft is coming to KC in a few months.
Exciting. All right, man. We'll catch you next time. Saturdays on Canada with Blackhawk West here on Wake and Bake.
Always be cashing.
I want some more.
I know a guy.
I want some more.
I know a guy.
I want some more.
I know a guy.
We're welcoming Mo for more Winners with Mo to Wake and Bake here on a Saturday morning of Super Bowl weekend. Mo, first show of the new year. Glad to have you, man.
Boy, how I've missed talking to you. I'm glad to be back, man. I love it. Wake and Bake, my favorite show that I'm on.
Did you see what the over-under was on the shortest touchdown to be made in the game?
No, what is it?
1.5 yards.
Ooh.
1.5 yards.
See, I feel because they play such great defense, the Eagles, but they play it really tight, that there's a good chance that there will be a pass interference in the end zone. And if that ball's placed on the 1 yard line, that'll blow that up right there.
And, I know my son, he loves taking the quarterbacks because they're always double digits,
Oh, yeah, for sure. This year it's unique, though, because I saw one the other day. I don't remember exactly how it was set up, but there's a prop bet for the Kelsey brothers because, since they're both playing on opposite teams in the Super Bowl, you can pick, a different Kelsey brother for their prop. And it was about even picked when I looked the last time between both Jason and Travis Kelsey.
How do they work Jason into it? What's that?
It was the over under on the number of snaps.
Oh, on the field.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good one.
Though. I mean, it's cool for fun prop bets like that. Now, you and I have talked for so long that it's not a great way, to make a lot of money. But if you want to have a little bit of fun, prop bets are a blast.
Well, the first touchdown to score is always exciting, and I've had a few Super Bowls where they didn't score in the first half. And let me tell you, you think Super Bowl halftime is long when it's just normal Super Bowl halftime? Think how long it is when the biggest tick you got is on the first player to score and there's no TDs yet, My 2 favorite stories are that one. That was it Devin Hester?
Devin Hester for the Bears.
Yeah. And then the guy for New Orleans in the Rams game, the 13-3 game.
Yep.
He was the first touchdown, He was the first Patriot touchdown, and he was the only touchdown. So I had last touchdown. So I won 3 tickets on one play. That was pretty cool. No doubt about it. All right, so when we get back, we're going to not only get some more specific prop plays from you, but we're going to get your final score from Super Bowl 57. As you know, Mo, if you give me your final score, I have a pretty good idea of how you're seeing the game. We'll be right back with Mo from the Mo Radio Show here on More Winners with Mo on Wake and Bake. Welcome back to More Winners with Mo from the Mo Radio Show here on Wake and Bake. First, give me your final score. What do you see the game?
33-28.
Who's winning?
Philadelphia.
Now, that's a prop square. You know the squares?
Mm-hmm.
That's one where you say 3 and 8. You know what? That's not an easy one. That's not an easy one, but that's a great score to have if you got numbers.
Yeah, and the reason I think is, a lot of talk has been about the Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts being young. He's the 7th youngest starting quarterback in a Super Bowl, but it hasn't really bothered the kid all year. The only thing that worries me is the shoulder injury. He's not been on the injury report this week at all, but I don't think the moment matters to this kid, and that's what I like about him. No moment has seemed too big. He can use his legs well, but he doesn't have to. Since Tom Brady's retired, he may have the best quarterback sneak of any quarterback in the NFL at this point. And the kid's got receivers. You've got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, which that trade got the Titans GM fired. I mean, they've just been so good. Their defensive line is fantastic. Offensive line is good. They can run the football with multiple guys. Defense is pretty darn good. I never want to count Patrick Mahomes out, but man, it just feels like this is a Philadelphia year. And not only that, but my former Colts offensive coordinator back when they had an offense, Nick Sirianni, is the head coach of the Eagles. Yep. My good friend Ed Kratz is the beat writer for the Eagles. So I'm going to be cheering on the Eagles come Sunday.
There you go, and that'll be a good game if they score 60 points. You won't be bored. That's for darn sure.
No, I don't turn the Super Bowl on for defense, so I'm ready to see a high-scoring game.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to put a post out this week going through the Easy Sports data since that Monday playoff game. Mm-hmm. Every single game has gone under the number. Every one. So it's like 6 in a row. 6 or 7 in a row.
I don't know. I have this feeling that there's going to be some offense. I think it's going to start early and it's going to continue throughout the game. So that's why I'm going higher score. You've got 2 pretty good field goal kickers as well. You've got two coaches that aren't afraid to gamble. Two of the coaches who are in the top 5 are going for it on 4th down. I think you're going to see a lot of fun offense, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
All right. So what other props you got going?
I think I'm going to take the over in the national anthem this year. Chris Stapleton, who is a very, slow, methodical country singer. I feel like he's going to stretch it out a little bit. So I do like the over on the national anthem. I'm looking at costume changes on the halftime show with Rihanna being there. I feel like there's going to be a bunch of different costume changes. I've taken the over. I think on that one too. I like Travis Kelce, the over on the number of targets, because if you look at the receivers on this Kansas City team, it's not even close with the receptions for Kelce. The other one I do like though is Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I think he's going to get over the 3 catches that he's got. They relied heavily on him in the Cincinnati game. A lot of big plays from Marquez Valdes-Scantling. So I'm going to take the over on the 3 catches for him as well. But, I think Mahomes is going to throw the ball a lot. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of running from his team. I think he's going to throw the ball a lot. So I think I'm going to take the over as well on the pass attempts, which I think right now was at 41 or 42.
Yeah, with a national anthem prop. The coolest part about it, that and the coin toss, is you can have literally won money before the game even started. There's not a lot of props you could do that. There's not a lot of games you could do that, actually.
Who you like on the coin toss? Whatever you say, that's what I'm going to go. Who you like?
Yeah, I'm a heads guy.
All right.
Always have been. I'm a heads guy. My son does that a lot too. He's won a few times on heads. The other aspect of it is the halftime. The halftime show is a spectacle, but it's long, and it's longer than any other game. So that's when, you've got that ability as a coach to have extra time. And boy, both of these coaches are going to be able to use that because they're both great adjustment coaches.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good. It'll be easier for both teams. You've got a lot of returning players on both teams that have been in Super Bowls. A lot of those guys on the offensive and defensive line for the Eagles were all part of the last Super Bowl team. Kansas City as well. So you've got guys on these teams that have been there. Yeah, your quarterback's young on Philadelphia, but you've got a lot of guys who have been a part of the Super Bowl, and I think will help these younger players adjust to this longer halftime because, you go in down big, you've got to figure out a way to get some food in you, stay hydrated and motivated, and make, like you said, make those changes to come out for the second half. So I think it's going to be important for both teams to keep it a close score going into halftime.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts has been in a national championship game, so he understands that concept. Of course, if I remember correctly, halftime didn't go well for him in that game.
No, and something to think about. A few years back, there was some damage done to the field by the halftime show stage. So you want to make sure, that it seems weird to think about, but man, you've got all those people and all those staging on the field. You want to watch out for when somebody steps into a divot or something like that. It's a crazy thing to think about, but they get that stuff in and out of there pretty darn quick. But there's a lot of people on that field at halftime.
Oh, yeah, there's sometimes, hundreds and hundreds of kids and performers and dancers. I mean, it really is a proverbial shit show getting them on and off.
Yeah, but man, the way they do it, it makes you wonder why when you go to a concert, you got to wait 45 minutes in between acts if they can't do it. If they can do it.
Right, exactly. When the pressure's on, I guess you got to do what you got to do.
So I specifically bought the Samsung phone that folds, so I can actually watch the game or a pregame show on one side of the screen and have my betting app up on the other side.
There you go. Now there's a guy that's thinking. All right, Mo, enjoy the Super Bowl. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining us for the first show of 2023. Here are the final score predictions from the crew on Super Bowl 57. Look at that. All four of them have the Chiefs scoring 24 or more, and their team total is sitting at 24.5. Don't you love that house advantage? Let's do this. Let's cash some tickets, but win or lose, there's a couple things you got to make sure you do. One is you want to enjoy the game. That's right. You want to enjoy the game and always be cashing.